John. I'm one of the directors of the HTEC Cares Foundation. So the HTEC Cares Foundation is a philanthropic arm of HTEC Management Solutions, and HTEC Management Solutions is a training and development human resources consulting firm. We operate in Saint Lucia, Antigua, Barbados, and Jamaica, and our main focus is people development. We believe in people and the development, enhancing the capacity of people, and we do so in several ways, providing business services and interventions that get businesses to be more people-oriented. So HTEC Cares is really focused on human development through youth development programs, through community development initiatives, through general charity interventions. And so far, we've started off with a series of First Aid and Lifesaving sensitization sessions. So we've been to ancillary and canneries. Reason being, we understand currently now we're in the hurricane season, and those communities are low-lying coastal areas that really require the assistance of agencies, entities, groups to build the resilience of those community members. And what we found so far going to those communities is really the enthusiasm of young people, community members like teachers, community leaders who've found it necessary to really learn the skill of first aid and life saving. So with Andre, who's a certified first responder, he's really been able to instill importance within the communities of the need for first aid. And he will tell you a bit about our own experience going into those spaces. We recognize too that it's important within community for those skills to be there, because of course you understand ancillary and canneries are pretty far from our main hospitals. So in the case of any eventuality, you want an individual or a group of individuals to be equipped with the skill to respond in any eventuality, and also because first aid is really about, that first intervention you do before your paramedics arrive. And if in case community members have the skill, then it means that the community is better prepared to deal with any emergency. So HTEC Cares, over the next few months or so, we will be working specifically within communities to bring in any essential skill that we think may be missing, and to also support government and other agencies in providing those skill sets. So we're all about partnership, we're all about youth development. We believe that our skills are meant to be given. We believe in community, we believe in togetherness, and just the collective good of our people. So our strategy has been partnering with community leaders. In ancillary, we connected with Mark de Beauville, who is the founder of Youth on Fire Ministries. And we've also been able to partner with Lucia Antoine, who is a former president of the Youth and Sports Council and currently the chair of the Constituency Council in Canaries. And that approach has really made it a community effort. So we're not just going in and saying we have the skill, we're looking to empower community members with the skill, but we are encouraging community leaders to take the charge in organizing the training on behalf of the residents. And it's worked pretty well. Great enthusiasm. To see 30 plus young people and older ones coming in, and a 3-hour evening session, after a long day, sitting into a classroom setting and just being part of the process. It has really brought joy to our heart, and this is why we consider it as a privilege to work with our people in that way. And our target is to aim to connect with 100 residents in a similar way. And it's really about bringing our people together, and HTEC Cares is about championing that, people development, and shedding light on many challenges our people face in a way where we can provide services to fill those gaps. General sensitization sessions, so we do the 3-hour evening training session, to which we at the end would ask key questions. We will allow for members to self-evaluate their performance. We do live demonstrations, so take for instance the chest compressions, knowing how to put together a bandage, an impromptu bandage using whatever material that you have within your household. We do that, and we allow for the participants to go through the process. So whilst Andre would conduct the training, at the end we allow for every single participant to go through that process, and we provide the guidance as we go along. We've shared a few videos, so within those video clips you would see how everyone has really been involved within the whole demonstration, and they've really just been open to learning the skill. And we think that I mean, I believe every young person should exit secondary school at least with the skill of first aid.
My name is Andre Cleghorn. I'm the founder and CEO of HTEC Management Solutions. So I bring you back to the pandemic when it hit. A lot of companies went through a very turbulent time. HR managers worked more than they've seen in decades. So now you find that a lot of companies were closing down, layoffs had to happen. People wanted to do it the right way as per the right labor relations standards. They need a lot of support, new hiring, short-term staff, things shifted. And that was where we saw the opportunity. Persons were reaching out to myself because after 10 years being in the hospitality and tourism industry, working in HR and training, I saw the need. Things slowed down for me. I was helping a lot of small businesses in their HR approach. And that really inspired me to start something that was formal. I called up a few friends in different islands. They're all HR and training practitioners. And I said, why don't we give of our gifts? We have seasoned experts who have been in the industry over 30 years, who have partnered with us. These are older women who've walked away from HR for a little while, but they're retired and they're now consulting. So there's a team of about 10 of us. We work between Jamaica, Saint Lucia, Antigua, and Barbados. What we do, we look for targeted approach in HR and training. We use a lot of technology base. I give somebody an example. We're having a networking event and our business cards are now translated to our digital watches. So they use their phones now to scan to get our contact details. All our trainings are very paperless, digital based. And we try to bring that intervention to help people to grow. But it's about people at the end of the day. A lot of companies have a lost focus on people and they are the core of what they do. So that's what HTEC really wants to do, is to realign the companies and the organization back to people with these interventions. So the acronym that we brought down, people ask the same thing. So H is human resource, T, training, E, entrepreneurship and coaching. So we also do tap into the entrepreneurship side. Even now, we're actually in the process of registering corporations for people. There are a lot of people interested outside of St. Lucia who wants to register businesses here. We offer chaperone service for people coming on island. St. Lucia is beautiful. So in taking them around, helping them to do business, we even tap into that. So that's where the HTEC, the human resource training, entrepreneurship and coaching came about, because a lot of small business too need business plans. So we help them with that. We connect them also with accountants who can help them with their finances, to help them to file for taxes. So there's quite a bit, but our aim was to bring a lot of experts, people from different islands who have expertise. A graphic designer in Antigua can actually be working for a company in St. Lucia. But if they never had HTEC as the hub and that connecting dot, it wouldn't have been possible. So he can now add to his resume from Jamaica that I work for a company in St. Lucia. We're Caribbean people. I love the Caribbean, and the more I realize that we're so connected, and that is where I ended up. You may have asked earlier, 2014 I came to St. Lucia. It was because of a CARICOM company that gave me the opportunity, showed me that, hey, you can live and work in the island. So when we started out with the foundation, we looked at some core pillars: community intervention, youth development, health and safety, and we wanted to target the children. In the pandemic, for example, we've been able to donate over 17,000 masks to Jamaica, to quite a bit of inner city communities that were needed. Cleaning supplies. Back to school, we've been able to give quite a bit of scholarships, send back people to school. We created a massive back to school treat in Jamaica, just as a one core foundation activity. So we looked into St. Lucia and said, what can the foundation do? We realized communities like what Ajani said, the Canaries and the Ansari. And so too, we had a lot of friends who we knew down there. And I said, why don't we come into the community to give back our gifts? I myself is an instructor that can certify you in CPR and first aid. And I like to give back. That's what the foundation is about. So we went into these communities to find key people, and we said, let's find 30 people who you know that if we train them these skills, they can actually be responders in the community. They're not afraid. They're confident to be able to exercise a skill. And it has been, I say my heart gets heavy when I see it, because I never knew the support would have been so much. You see so many people, had to scale down the list. The first call, there was 50 people who wanted to be a part of it. And we had to go to 30 because it needs to be manageable. You asked earlier, how do we do the training? Everyone has to actually practice on these mannequins. They need to be able to show us how they can help to splint an arm, help someone with a broken arm, help with burns and cuts and bruises. So it's very extensive. Sometimes it goes to 4 hours. but we really enjoy it. We're looking to target 100 persons in Saint Lucia, free of cost. It's a certificate of participation, so it acts as a sensitization for them. But the company, however, through PADI International, which is a licensing authority, offer CPR first aid certification that you can use, approved by SLASPA, you can use in hotels for 2 years. But we try to give them a similar introduction of it, as you said, but on a certification of participation level. PADI, it's the body that's responsible for divers globally. And what they have done now is to create, with the American Heart Association, Red Cross Association, common guidelines that surrounding resuscitation. That if somebody is have fallen ill or they went into cardiac arrest, meaning the heart stops, what are those skills that we can teach people, and it's now accepted. PADI is under that group of companies that really follow these guidelines, and instructors like us who are certified by PADI with these guidelines go into the communities, go into companies, and actually do the certifications. So it's almost like a trickle-down effect. The guidelines are set at the top by the ILCOR group of organization. PADI now becomes one of those organizations that delivers it. They certify us as instructors, we certify the trainees, and then the skill continues. The night of Canaries, when we were leaving, we got to Ancillary. I saw a lot of crowd, and then I saw an ambulance stop by the restaurant. So I said, what's happening? They said the gentleman was there. He fell down for whatever he was doing, knocked his head real hard. The family took him inside to rest. It seems as if after a while, they found him unresponsive. They called the ambulance. Not knowing what to do, the ambulance took a while. Ajani mentioned some of these communities are very far from the hospitals. The ambulance took a while to come. The man became unresponsive. When I asked the question, try to find out what happened, the EMS mentioned that if the family members knew how to perform CPR at the time of them finding him unresponsive, his chance of coming back to life would have been shorter. Literally, while we saw the ambulance driving, we were driving behind the ambulance, and this is the EMS in the back, because you can see through at the back. He's doing chest compressions, and I'm saying to Johnny, imagine we're just finishing a training in Canaries, and we're seeing an ambulance with an EMS inside performing chest compression. It was an eye-opener to us, and it was also something to remind us, keep doing what you're doing, because it's a skill that is needed. So if I could use that as a story from the EMS point of view, if the family knew how to perform chest compressions before we got here, he would have been already resuscitated. So it's a skill that we believe that is needed in the homes, is needed in the schools, whether it's a simple cut. Somebody having epilepsy at home, do you know how to deal with it? Sometimes people get afraid, but there are basic things that you can do. Somebody who's having a seizure, somebody who maybe a nosebleed. There are basic things that we teach them just at home, how they can treat for each other. Your grandma decides to go into cardiac arrest, means she starts to have a heart attack. Many people panic. But what the skill does, it teaches you how to help your grandma, it teaches how to help your child. If he has something lodged in his throat, restaurants need to know these skills, because persons can choke while they're having their meals for whatever reason. So we're saying to partners, we're willing to partner with them, particularly in the communities on that level. But we've also targeted quite a bit of organization that we're working with, both companies, hotels, that they realize the need for the training. So we're doing quite a bit in terms of certification, but on the HTEC Foundation side, we believe that we needed to give back. So one of the first things we start off by telling our participants, you never start giving care without thinking about yourself first. Because at the end of the day, if I go to the scene of a fire or go to the scene of an accident, I get excited. Yes, I know it's first aid and CPR, but I can go and now become a second victim. When the EMS arrive, they have 2 persons to deal with instead of 1. So you protect yourself by making sure that the scene is not dangerous. This is one of our best friends. I always say to individuals, your glove, even at home, you're treating a wound, ensure that you put on your gloves. And there's a way that we help them to take off the glove, because sometimes these gloves may also have whatever it is, blood pathogen that's on it. So in the way you take it off is also crucial to protect yourself. But the glove as your starting point, now we have, I call him Johnson. Johnson's in the restaurant, and Johnson is stroking, maybe on a small piece of bone. Most important thing is, if you're going to assist someone's child, you need to ask for permission. So I come over to you and say, sir, is your son choking? You may say, yes. I'm a first aider. My name is Andre. May I assist? You ask for permission. When you've been given that permission, what you now do is to support the child. In a choking instance with an infant, You perform 5 chest thrusts at the front, hoping that the object can be dislodged. So you open the airway so that there's a free flowing of the esophagus. So if it is locked and that object is inside, then if it's ready to come out, it can't come out because the airway is locked. So you open it by this action, find the central point of the chest, and then you give 5 by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to now check to see if the object is there. You flick that object out. If it is not, then you know put them on the back. I think we all know this old-fashioned way where grandma said, knock the child's back. It's a powerful thing. But there's a formula in doing it. Instead of just, it's almost like you're going up, trying to get the object out. So 5 of those, you look and you continue. And I can guarantee if you do it the right way, the object is going to come out. So these are some basic skills that we teach. I can tell you this, a lot of mothers who are new mothers, they crave this kind of skill. Because they hear of knocking the back, but they never knew of certain things. That when the child has a nosebleed or the child has a rash, what to put on it. We teach them all of that. Because we want to be able to empower people at home, empower people in the schools, and empower people even on the roadside. If, for example, you come to the scene of an accident, sometimes you want to know if the person is responsive, because that's a critical part. You never perform chest compressions if somebody is responsive. Once I was in Jamaica and I realized that there was a young man on the floor. There were 3 guys who drowned. The newspaper said 2 drowned and 1 was rescued. I jumped in the water, realized that there are 2 bodies on the ground. When we pulled one out, the one that was taken out, the first thing that I had to do was to put him in the recovery position. The recovery position is at a position that you allow him to excrete all the water that is inside. And immediately when I did that, the blood and the salt water came out. That was the most comfortable position and the safest you could put him there. You come there, you need to check if the person is responsive. You want to check the pulse, things like that. Because sometimes you check in for breathing by putting your jaw by their mouth and then the wind is really blowing. So to check for the pulse, you have an area right here that you can feel just directly underneath the chin. Anyone that touches that now, you can actually feel it if you remain still. So that's one area to check for responsiveness. A second area is right here by the arm, the hand area here. You come around and you feel using 2 fingers. And immediately right now I'm starting to feel it. For babies or infants, sometimes you may not be able to feel those areas. So you want to come just below the armpit area. And then you feel for that. And then the final and 4th place I would recommend to check in for your pulse is just on the top of your feet. So just a little bit closest to the toe, midway between your ankle and your toes, then you'll be able to find your pulse. So those are 4 places I would recommend when you're checking if the person is responsive before you perform chest compressions, because you never do chest compressions. And you do 30. You give them 30 and you also give them 2 breaths, because the breath will also be important. One of the things people think that most importantly is the heart, but it's really the brain needing oxygen. If the brain doesn't have oxygen, it's even more detriment, because what will happen? I can resuscitate the heart, but if there's no oxygen going to the brain, then nothing really happens to the individual. So oxygen is so important, so don't forget those 2 rescue breaths, especially if somebody comes out of the water. If you pull somebody out of the water, a drowning victim, they need breath right there and then, not chest compressions. HTEC Management Solutions is here, and we really just want to give back. And in giving back, we have to partner with others. So we have CPR, first aid and training. We can come to your organization, and that's a flexibility that we offer. We are very, very competitive. We have some very competitive rates in the market, because we've also recognized that there are others in the market that do similar training. But what we've been able to do is to find a benchmark to see feasible and comfortable for a man who doesn't even work for a company can purchase our CPR training. That makes it easy for him. We can also take you to us. So if you don't have a place or a space, we can take you to us. We do have an operation in the north of the island that we have a training center that we work from, and we can also come to you. So check us out, HTECmanagementsolutions.com. You can contact us 733-2350 or email us at info@HTECmanagementsolutions.com.